What's up, everybody? We are live. Yes, I'm gonna turn off these notifications here because I'm getting crazy. But I look like I'm in trouble. It looks like I may be having some issues with the LawTube space. Seeing a lot of emails and I'm told I can't get a copy of the warrant unless I'm in Minnesota access. I'll send it to you. Send me a message on Twitter and I'll send it to you. matter of fact, it's literally I literally posted it on Twitter. So yeah. So afternoon, everybody. So yeah, so you know what? It's yeah. Please send me a post on Twitter or just look at my Twitter feed. It's the last thing I posted right before this video link. So yeah, so that's it. Just check that out. Let me pull this down. All right, what's up, everybody? What's up? So this was a stream I didn't think I was going to do. I thought like yesterday's stream was going to be my last stream on this. The next thing I know, I'm being jettisoned from the LawTube community because I'm not, pro Nick. I'm not saying Nick is innocent. Oh my God, this whole thing is a sham. They're after him because he said bad things about them on YouTube. I'm not saying that. I'm like, let me look at the documents. Let me evaluate this. I'm not co-signing any of these horrible legal arguments. And because of that, now it seems like people are, hey, you don't support Nick, so we're not going to mess with you, which is fine. But the issue that happened yesterday is that I and others were called out. We were called out. Robert Barnes called us out and said, why aren't you talking about these constitutional issues about Nick? Now, for those of you who know who Nick Rekieta is another live streamer from YouTube. He's a friend of mine. Full disclosure, I like the guy. I've done streams with him. I've done videos on his channel with Nick that have done extremely well. Me and Nick are cool. No doubt about it. Nick's a bro. Nick is going through some things right now, but that doesn't mean he's not a bro. So like I keep saying, I support Nick in his sobriety and trying to cover all this, get all this stuff together. But if you're asking me for my legal analysis, I'm going to give it to you cold, right? You serve it cold. You guys don't want to hear me. Oh, you see, blah, blah, try to mix it up. Here it is, right? Here it is. So that's the way I do it. So when Barnes called us all out, I said, okay, well, I'll go on and listen to his arguments. And I just deconstructed them, right? I deconstructed them. So Nate was at the record straight. Thank you, Southern Law. So I deconstructed them. Here are the arguments. Here they go, right? And I went through them one at a time. For those who were here last night or who watched that video, they saw me go through one at a simple time, right? Here are all those arguments. And I told you why I think this one is bad, why I think this one's bad, why I think this one's laughable, and so forth and so forth. Now, the big issue yesterday, so everyone understands where I'm coming from. I was a prosecutor, right? I wrote many search warrants. I was a defense attorney. And as a defense attorney, I challenged many search warrants. So on both sides, I've done it. I don't know if Robert Barnes ever wrote a search warrant, right? I don't know that. I don't believe he's ever written a search warrant. He may have challenged a couple, but he's probably never written a search warrant. I've written many in my career. Now, with that said, as an officer, I've sworn to search warrants. So I've sworn to them, I've written them, and I've tried to get them kicked out. So I've been on all sides of it. So when it comes to search warrants, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I know what goes on to get in a search warrant. So when the documents came out yesterday, the big issue was Barnes had taken the probable cause statement for an arrest. So everybody understands what happens. The police went and got a search warrant for drugs at Nick's house. And we're going to look at that search warrant today. And that search warrant had all details on how they came to what's known as probable cause to search Nick's home. Now, that probable cause of a search wasn't enough to arrest Nick, but it was enough to go in to search the property for drugs. They obtained that search warrant. The judge signed off it. They obtained the search warrant. And then they went to the house, found the drugs, and arrested Nick. Now, after they arrested Nick for the drugs, they didn't have a second document that they produced called a probable cause statement for the arrest. So they arrested Nick and said, hey, this is the reason why we arrested him. We found all these drugs in the thing. But Barnes, who I'm assuming wasn't thinking about the search warrant issue, he made this whole legal analysis on how the search was bad based on the probable cause statement for the arrest. He didn't know or if he didn't realize that statement had nothing to do with the search warrant. So as I said yesterday, I was on Andrew Legal Mindset show. I talked to Uncivil Law about it. Like all the lawyers I talked to about it said, listen, we actually don't know what the reason was for the search. We just don't know, right? We have no facts to tell us that. Everything people were saying was speculation. It could be anything. So to make any conclusions that the search was bad or anything like that, you just don't know what the probable cause statement is. So today we got the probable cause statement. Great. So now we know exactly why they searched in Excel. So we're gonna that's the document we're gonna go over now. So after reading that document, I was like, oh, this is obvious, right? There's obviously probable cause here, right? It seems like it's gonna be, it's just here. Barnes then comes and he gets his statement. Are we all, essentially, are we all going to defend its honor and say this is a Fourth Amendment violation and be, and be the defenders of the nose? Now, I'm going to say this before I go into the super chat. I am someone who respects the hell out of Robert Barnes. I do. I respect him and I respect Viva tremendously. Even with this, there's nothing they can do to my admiration for those two men. It's pretty high, right? I'm still going to listen to Barnes. I'm still going to listen to Viva. I love those guys, right? So this is just a little tit for tat over a disagreement. But personally, all I have is you guys, right? Well, I have my family and all that stuff, but I'm saying all I have is you guys. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and try to make you think something that I know for a fact is BS. It's true. The reason why I've got this following, the reason why you guys watch my stuff is because you guys can trust that if Nate tells us something, that's how he really feels. If Nate tells you this is BS, that's how he really feels. Now, I could be wrong, which I've been wrong many times. Many of you pointed that out to me. But you'll know, and I'll say, this is the reason why I think this. And if I'm wrong, tell me. And if I'm right, that's fine. But it doesn't seem like others are that open to it. Because yesterday, essentially, I told Barnes he was wrong. And this is the reason why he was wrong. So this morning, I didn't accept the Pledge of Allegiance and said, I think you're wrong. I think there's plenty of probable cause here, and I think you're you're just misguided. I'm blocked. So that's essentially what happened. I will not simp for Nick. I will support Nick in his recovery. I'll support Nick in doing whatever he needs to do to help get himself better, help take care of his kids. I'll help him, but I'm not going to simp for him. That's just not me. And trying to mislead the public into believing that this is a Fourth Amendment violation or something like this is just it's not something I am willing to do. Others are going to be willing to do that. Others are going to be willing to try to. You'll start seeing this a lot. You'll start seeing some of the. I hate to even call it this, the pro Nick crowd. What they'll do is they'll take one line in the search warrant, like the kids told their teachers they were hungry, and say, "Is that enough for a search warrant?" But then if you just stop and think for a second, you're like, well, there's 11 pages to the search warrant. It's not just the kids reporting that they're hungry. It's them wearing the same clothes. It's the fact that you had Nick, who is clearly drugged out of his mind online. We all saw it, right? Then we have first-person accounts, people who are in the house who are essentially saying they're using drugs with them. We have all this evidence, right, of child neglect, drug use, him using drugs. He's on camera with coke on his nose. Now, probable cause is not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. It is a very low threshold. Is it likely, more probable, more likely than not, you're going to find drugs or some contraband in that house? When the guy's on a stream with coke on his nose, when you got the person who's doing coke in his house saying, yeah, we are in there doing coke, when the kids are there saying that we're hungry, we're wearing the same clothes, is that more likely than not? That's the standard. It's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt. So understanding that's the standard we're looking at, that's how you have to evaluate it. But Barnes and I believe what they're going to do is say, well, this one thing isn't enough. Yeah, that one thing isn't enough, but everything together. And that's why you'll hear this term. Legal Mindset would say it, and all other attorneys who deal with this. The totality of the circumstances. One fact isn't enough, but 20 facts may now be enough to get you probable cause. So That's just what it is. Let me take down some of these super chats before we get into the document. Let me put the document on first, so we can all see what the document says. But yeah, we got it this morning, and so I still want to say it. I love Robert Barnes. I think he's fantastic. He blocked me, yes, but he blocked me because I will not go along with the Nick is the best and the most innocent guy ever, and all this is BS. I'm not doing that. I'm just not. And if you're here for me to do that, it's not going to happen. What Nick is doing, what this thing is reading, is that he messed up, he needs help, and we should be supporting his recovery, not trying to make excuses for him and do interference so people can believe this is something that it's not. I'm sorry. So, if I lose subscribers, I've already lost Barnes. If I lose subscribers and people who feel that I should be doing that out of some allegiance to Nick, we had this problem before with a leader where it was like, you got to show utter allegiance to Nick. No, I freaking don't. No, I don't. And I'm not. I'm loyal to my friend. I want to help my friend, but I'm not going to lie to the audience for my friend. That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So I'm just, I just want to make it very clear. That's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to mislead you because someone wants me to make this seem better than it is. I'm not a lawyer, and even I thought his arguments were lame as hell. Nothing made any sense. He's okay with kids. They're in mind. There is mind blowing. Thanks, Nate. No, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're saying. I actually work in law enforcement. I can tell you that if a Democratic judge, magistrate judge, signed a search warrant for a drug-related offense, then they had probable cause out the wazoo. I know. I've been. I was in the Bronx writing these things, so you know how liberal those judges are. If Barnes blocks you for a difference of legal opinions, that's because you didn't agree with him. Then he's a clown. It's it's crazy. I know it's crazy. The truth hurts, bro, especially if it doesn't coincide with their assumptions. And then when you disagree, you are the enemy. Well, I'm hoping not to be the enemy, but it just is what it is. It's crazy. You're a genuine person and one of the most sincere and truthful people commenting on the law. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Stephen Light. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's hard, though. As you can see, it's hard, to live in the light. Yes, socks. To live in the light of friendship. Sorry to see you got dragged for giving a perspective. It sucks to see people being petty. Yes, it does. It does. The first step to recovery is to admit you have a problem, and I don't think he's ready to do that. Maybe you should step back for both. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely stepping back. Yeah. That makes sense. Thank you. That's very, very good. I am stepping back. Let them handle it, right? I can't believe you got blocked. What happened? Free speech, legal debate, case of the merits. That if you don't agree with the there's a narrative that's being produced. If you don't agree with the narrative, you're not part of the cool kids. I don't agree with the narrative. I'm not going with the narrative. I'm sorry. So I'm going to give you my perspective on this case. And I'm going to give it to you as someone who was a prosecutor, wrote search warrants, understands the nuance, and try to let you see exactly what I'm looking at. So now thank you, MC, for becoming a member. Thank you. Now, this was the big issue previously. Is that no one saw why the police was searching Nixon. So we didn't know if it was for child endangerment. We didn't know if it was drugs. So everybody was confused. Now, there were some people who were out there saying the search warrant was bad, but hadn't seen any of this. So Barnes was out there saying this search warrant is bad. And he hadn't seen any of these facts. Now he comes back and says, after seeing the facts, he's had his conclusion, and now he's trying to fit an analysis into the conclusion. So he's trying to say, well, I told you the search warrant wasn't bad. I didn't see it. Now here's a search warrant. Oh, it's bad, just like I told you. So now he's got to now fit the facts to fit his previous conclusion. I don't have to do that. I just got to read it and tell you what I think. Now, I could be wrong about my analysis, but I think I'm pretty on point. So let's see if there's probable cause. Remember, is it more likely than not that you're going to go into Nick's house and possibly find drugs or some other contraband? That's what you're looking for. And now we're going to see if all the facts that they allege would lead you to that conclusion. It led the judge to that conclusion, but would it lead you to that conclusion? So This is a licensed peace officer. Now, for any search warrant and generally any arrest, you have to have a licensed peace officer, somebody who is from the state, to swear in and say, yes, I am a licensed peace officer and I want to search on behalf of the state. So that's why you say this person, I'm a licensed peace officer, as described below. I believe that the following describe property and things, namely, so you talk about controlled substances, methamphetamine. So now this is the first thing about warrants. You have to tell the government has to tell the judge what items, well, it's the items to be what you're looking for. And you got to be specific. You can't just say, I'm just going to look for criminal activity. No, you got to say, what are you going in? You have to specifically note, I'm going in looking for coke. I'm going in here looking for this. So that's why you'll see. We're going in looking for controlled substances, methamphetamines, cocaine, and other controlled substances prohibited by law. Paraphernalia commonly associated with the sale and use of. So specifically, that's what we're looking for, right? And the items would show controlled substances used would not qualify as legal drug paraphernalia. So this is them saying, what exactly? Now they're going to describe the property to be searched and the things to be seized. So that's what you're talking about. You see the property, what the property looks like. That's where and we're going inside being looking for drugs. So this was a search warrant for drugs. Now, we now have to read this document to see if the facts that they're going to allege would lead a reasonable person like yourself to believe it's more likely than not that drugs were in this property. Right? So we'll look at it. So here they talk about whose property it is. We apply for the search warrant on the following grounds: the possession of the property and things above described. They're looking for the cocaine and all that stuff. Facts establishing grounds for the issue to the warrant. So now this is what we need to see. Why the hell do you want this warrant? So this is the crux. This is what no one knew for the past couple of days. Everybody's talking crap, but no one knew. So let's see what it says. It says more about Barnes and nothing about you. You are truthful no matter the person. People need to remember children are in the house. Yes, that's like the main thing here. This could have been a totally different story. Hopefully Nick gets help. Love you, Nick. Yes. And this has nothing to do with Nick. I hope Nick all the best. I really hope Nick all the best. And I hope he reaches out. We're all here for him. But I'm not going to sit there and cover for him. That's not what we do. And Legal Mindset had his come to Jesus moment yesterday because he was defending Barnes for a little bit at the beginning. And now he's just like, come to Jesus, right? And everybody, and think about it. Out of all the LawTubers, we are all saying the same thing except for two people, Barnes and Viva. Everyone else is saying the same thing. There's only two people saying something different. I don't know why. All right, so here it is. The affiant, that's the person who's swearing out. Licensed peace officer, remember, that's got to be a peace officer. That's the person who's in front of the judge saying, this is what I say. So he's telling you how long he's been a peace officer, all that other great stuff, basic information, what he's done, what they're looking for, that type of thing, why they're going for it. So now he tells you from 2010 to 2013, the affiant employed as the chief of police. So this guy was employed as the chief of police from 2020 to 2013. So he's giving you his little background. He's attended hundreds of hours of training. So he's telling you why he's so in this statement, he's telling you his experience, how I know, this stuff and why I'm applying for this warrant. So he's giving you a full background on who he is, SWAT teams and all that stuff. So this guy, child abuse material, active shooter, he's giving you the full list. This is who I am, right? I know when I go into places like this, I know what I'm looking for. I know this, and I've had all this training. So this is a well-trained officer who is making it happen. So now, case background. On May 16, 2023, at the sheriff's office, Sergeant David Nestor received a report regarding possible child neglect and substance and controlled substance abuse. Report indicated that Nicholas Robert Rekieta resides, I redacted all that, obviously. He resides at the residence with his wife. They got their date of birth, 5 children, ages 6 to 16. The report indicated that 4 people from the church, so this is 4 people from the church, had gone to him reporting neglect of the child, possible controlled substance use, and questionable relationships with an additional couple. Now, the additional couple piece is, there's videos of Nick and this other couple in the hot tub. The woman, April, who was allegedly the nanny, She was, there's like an issue. She got arrested with them. And also the husband, who you'll see here, was one of the people who was who essentially, I won't say snitched him out. It sounds bad, but he did snitch him out. He was a cooperating witness for this affidavit. So, and he was allegedly in the house with the drug use. So if this is some random drug addict, Barnes and crew would be praising law enforcement for saving kids and punishing the wrongdoer. Yeah, but right now they're blocking you if you don't say it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. So I'm reading it to see if there's any violation of the Fourth Amendment. So here it is. It was reported Nick Rekieta is a social media blogger, and he and his wife Kayla had best friended hosts of a different social media, another YouTube channel. Those individuals were identified as Aaron Michael Imhotep and April Imhotep. Now, April's the one that was arrested with them. She was at the house. Your affiliate knows personally there are some personality. These are personalities of Steel Toe Morning Show. Shout out to Steel Toe Morning Show, which used to be in St. Cloud, Minnesota radio. However, as of recent years, the show has been on a social media show, strictly online based. It was reported that Imhotep's may have been staying with the Rekietas, and the home was in disarray and cluttered. So they're saying this is some of their initial reports. It was also reported from the church preschool teacher. Now, this is where the mandatory reporting thing comes into play. So remember before, Barnes was like, he told his pastor and all that other stuff. So it wasn't the pastor who initially got it. So I want to put myself on screen. So the mandatory reporter laws are for school. So if you're running a school or a daycare, those people and those teachers are now mandatory reporters. So if children come and say, my father beats me and they're using coke, as a mandatory reporter, the teacher, you got to now tell the school administrators and they got to tell the cops. So that's how it is. And like 99% of child abuse cases, generally, the kids aren't going talking to the cops. They're talking to a teacher or a daycare professional, and then that's how they get linked up with law enforcement. That's the true goal of the mandatory reporter. It's that bridge to law enforcement if someone is in trouble. So you won't keep it to yourself. So that's the mandatory reporter, and that seems what happened here. Where's that? Let me see. Yeah. So the kids were in preschool. They were in church preschool, and the children were now complaining. So that's our first thing of how law enforcement got involved. Maybe Rumble contract explained Barnes' behavior. Maybe. I write out that Barnes rails against corruption, but wants special scrutiny for his friends. Yeah, well, not for me. If you're not there, if you're not with the program, you're against the grain. So now let's go up. So here it is. Church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry, not being fed, and wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time, and would start to smell. So those are, now I was watching a little bit of Barnes and Viva earlier. They said, the kids are just complaining about being hungry, right? Kids are just complaining about being hungry. How is that enough? They're not complaining, they're being hungry. They said, we're hungry. They're not feeding us. We're wearing the same clothes for 3 or 4 days, for God's sake, and they're starting to smell. That's what they're complaining about. But when you hear Viva and Barnes said, it was, they were just complaining about being hungry. My kids complain about being hungry. Well, no shit, but do they complain about you not feeding them? Are they wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days? And are they starting to smell? Right? If they're doing all that, then you may have a problem in neglecting your kids. But that's the first thing that's what they were complaining about. My sister is a deep addict. Nick is acting like her. Oh no, he's in it. He's in it. So this is what they expect me to carry weight for this. No, absolutely not. The kids complain to the teacher. So that's the report. So now, guess what? They now have to report that to police, right? That sounds like neglect. You're not eating. What the hell? You're wearing the same clothes and you're smelling like crap. Yeah. We have a problem. But that's a welfare check. That's not enough for probable cause alone, right? That makes you think, we may have to send somebody out there, right? Right? We need to understand. We need to understand. So now let's continue reading. Nicholas was reported to be lethargic and appeared high or drugged, driving a car around. So he's looking drugged, he's looking high. Another individual advised the reported, advisor reported, that's the affiant, that Nicholas would walk out randomly during sermons at church and have noticed behavioral changes in him. Again, that alone is not enough. But now, if you're putting everything together, the kids are in the same clothes, complaining about not being fed. He's looking all drugged out. He's now skipping out during sermons and coming back with dramatic mood changes. It was alleged that Kayla also looked anorexic, and Nick lost a substantial amount of weight. Well, what do you do? You know, listen, I was in law enforcement. When you're on drugs, like crack and shit like that, and cocaine, you lose a lot of weight. So people are saying, okay, he looks, and I'm going to say this too. Who the hell has been watching Nick for the past year and didn't think he was on drugs? Right? Who the hell's been watching Nick for the past year? And if I had to bet you $1 million, right? if Nick was on drugs, you would easily win that bet, right? It was obvious. That's probable cause. That goes into the probable cause analysis. So here it is. So she's looking bad, right? One individual described Nick as having injection or track marks in his arm. Okay, that's a little bit more now. Now we got kids. Now we got your mood changes. Now we got you looking drugged out. Now we got track marks in your arms. It's all now, again, you see how we're building a picture of what can lead to probable cause. I don't think we're there yet, but we're bringing up a picture. It all starts with the kids, but now we're talking about what they look like. The reporter reiterates concerns of possible neglect and controlled substance use. So now the reporter says, hey, with all this stuff that's going on, the kids looking bad, them looking like cokeheads, you know, there may be some substance abuse and possible child neglect. All right, so now the cops say, let's go. We got to now do some more investigating. That's not enough. If that was enough, that would be it, right? And we'd be having. But they said that's not enough. Let's investigate some more, right? Because this could all just be a big misunderstanding. We need more. We need more. Unreal, you got blocked by the crypto of YouTube. How long is it going to keep on the face? You told me deep state is after poor Nick. Yes. It's all the deep state after poor Nick. How did you get the warrant? The warrants, well, I got the warrant from a friend. I know there are a couple of people who put out freedom of information requests. So after they put it out, then whoever gets it first, they pass it off to us. There's actually a freedom of information request for the what's it called? The camera. What's the camera called? The body cam. But they want us to pay $3,000 for the body cam. So, you know, people are trying to figure out how they're going to get the body cam, but there is body cam. So, you know, people are going to figure it out. The Kiwi Farms is the one that put it out. So they say people are saying Kiwi Farms. I got it from another friend. I didn't get it from Kiwi Farms. So we'll see. But there's body cam. So they said they charged $3,000 for the body cam. So we'll see. So it says your affiant to review Rekieta and MLT social media posts. So now they said we got all this information. They're looking drugged out. The kids are saying they're not being fed and all this stuff. Let's now take a more deeper look in the Nick. So they started looking at Rekieta's and MLT's social media posts, which makes sense. Is this enough evidence to go through his medical history? Is this enough evidence to go through his medical history? No, we just started reading. I don't know how much evidence we got, right? We literally just started. So let's come back to this question later because we just started. But no, I don't think right now this may be enough to go through his medical history. We're going to figure out what the hell's going on. So they tell the blogs are commonly referred to legal issues, high-profile trials, as Nicholas Rekieta is a licensed attorney. It says Nicholas is known to drink alcoholic beverages exclusively on these video blogs. Yes, right. That was always Nick's thing. Drink heavily on stream. So that I don't think, and that's not illegal. So that's nobody's worried about that. That's just a true statement. I immediately noticed that Nicholas' appearance in recent months began to change. Now, everybody who's been watching Nick, I think every single person who I've spoken to, every single person on Twitter has said this exact same thing. Over the past couple of years, his appearance has changed, right? Everybody's been saying that. So this is not something that, oh my God, that's something that was clear. In a video from January 2024 compared to May 2024, Nick appeared to have lost weight, appears tired, overall appearance strung out, commonly with controlled substance use. Nicholas refers to his studio and his basement in his own residence. Nicholas has been the victim of swatting, police calls, and is known to your affiant. This is the guy says they know who he is because of these calls. When the sheriff's office responded to these calls, they were at his house while reviewing Imhotep's social media posts. So now they reviewed Nick's stuff and said, looks like this person is on using controlled substances. So they use Imhotep's social media posts. Aaron recently indicated that he and April were getting a divorce. So now you go from Nick's perceptions, because again, this hasn't led to probable cause yet. They're building a picture. Okay, so now the kids are complaining about being not fed, wearing the same clothes and all this stuff. They look bad. There's people at church saying they look like shit. They look like they're strung out. They go and check out Nick's stuff and they're like, yeah, he looks like he's strung out. Everybody online is saying he looks like he's strung out. It looks obvious that he's strung out on the thing. And now they're going to, okay, so let's look at this Imhotep. Let's see what she looks like. After reviewing her social media, their social media, Aaron recently indicated that he and April were getting divorced. Aaron goes on to say that he experimented with cocaine 3 times and Molly 6 or 7 times in the past. And they gave the exact date on Imhotep's broadcast, a podcast from Rekieta Studio. So they were podcasting from in Nick's house. A podcast being named Live from Spicer. And they give the date. Throughout Imhotep's video blogs, it is apparent that they and the Rekietas were friends and have recently had a falling out. It should be noted that in recent videos of Imhotep, April has at times appeared to be tired, lethargic, so she's appeared to be strung out. So they looked at the other couples, Aaron and April stuff, and they're like, well, she looks strung out. And he's talking about drug use. And he's inside Nick's house. Now, why is that important? Well, if they can get him, if he's now saying that he was in Nick's house using illegal drugs, that is really close to probable cause, right? Because now you have a first-hand witness who's in the house, who saw the drugs, and who's going to sit here and testify, I was there, I was using drugs in that house with those kids and with this guy. That's probable cause. Listen, I got it all figured out. All Nick has to do is use a subject matter jurisdiction defense, and boom, it's free. Worked wonders for Daryl Brooks. This is all because Nick puts on an evil curse on Chris Cran medallion. If it happens to come into your position, do not put it on. I'm not even looking at it. Yeah, no. So now, in both Nicholas and Imhotep's blogs from the Rekieta studio, it's apparent that they are in the same room. The same items in the background appear to be the same. At one point during Imhotep's video, Nicholas walks in the background and grabs an item, which would show the background is not a backdrop curtain, and that it was the layout of the actual room. That's important because, let's say, for instance, I can put a green screen of my background and be in California, right? I don't have to be in this room because you'll see the same background. So what they said is that since he went to the background and started pulling things off the wall, you know that they were in his room. Why is that important? Because the search warrant is saying we want to go into that house, into that room, into that place and look for drugs. And guess what? They're in there. They're in there. On 5/22/2024, Imhotep did a video blog that talked about Nicholas and insinuated controlled substance use, and also referenced a video blog of Nicholas, the Nicholas put online the day before, 5/21. That had since been taken off the internet. Imhotep indicated in that blog that Nicholas needs help and needs to get help for his kids because of his substance abuse. Bing, 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 bing. Someone who's been in the house, who's on video being in the house, who's doing blogs in the house, is now saying what the church people said. They're now saying what they're seeing in the video, that, hey, in that house, he's using drugs and there's kids in the house. Bing, 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 bing. How does he know? Because he was in the house. Sounds like probable cause to me. Nicholas is saying that Nicholas needs help, right? So then he says, substance abuse. Imhotep points out a time in the video where Nick has a white powdery substance on his nose. We don't know if it's cocaine, but put it all together. What would you think it is? What would a reasonable person think was on Nick's nose? On 522, the affidavit was able to review the video that was taken off by Nicholas, YouTube and Rumble media sites. The video from 521 and is of Nicholas in his basement studio talking about a court of appeals ruling he lost. He appears in the video to be drinking alcoholic beverages and eventually appears under the influence of substance or substances. The entire video blog is 4 hours and 4 minutes long. He watched the whole thing. Approximately 2 hours into the video, Nick leaves to go use the restroom. He returns 4 minutes later. He appears to be making an excited look and has a white powdery substance on his nose. Your affiant believes his behavior indicative of central nervous system stimulation. Your affiant believes, based on his training and experience, and remember, the cop is like, I deal with this all the time. Remember all that list of stuff, drugs, blah, 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 blah. He has all this experience. And under his experience, looking at Nick, he's saying, this looks like somebody who's using illegal drugs. Your affiant believes, based on, here's the key words, training and experience, as well as the behavior of Nick, that he ingested this white powdery substance through his nasal cavity while off camera. Your affiant knows through training experience that ingesting controlled substances through the nasal cavity is common amongst controlled substance users and is often referred to as snorting. Your affiant also noticed that throughout the video, Nicholas was so under the influence of substance to the point he had to close one eye and to read the screen, rambles and slurred speech. Nicholas was obviously not be able to care for his children in this state of intoxication. Now, there's going to be some people saying, well, no, we don't know if he was, we don't know, blah, blah, blah. Every single person who watched that viral video that was covered by everybody, where he's doing that under the table, everybody who watched that video said that he was high. Everybody came to the same conclusion. So now you got to ask yourself, are you a reasonable person? Barnes said that video looked bad. Viva said that. Everybody said he looked strung out. He looked like he was high on drugs. Got kids in the house. How's he taking care of the kids in that condition? Right? That's what that's what this is saying. Based on what he looked like, based on what he was doing, is it reasonable to believe he's strung out on drugs? And mind you, I'm gonna tell everybody who's in this chat, most of you've been saying this who watched Nick for the past 6 months. Now you see it in a probable cause document. Now, well, how do we really know? How do you really know? You've been seeing it live. You don't know how many messages I've gotten. Hey, do you see this about Nick? You see Nick is going crazy. Blah, blah, blah. Our job is strong. He needs help. Can you guys help support him? Yeah. And the cops were seeing it too. Legal Mindset said that Nick is in a group now, chatting substantive information regarding this case to multiple people. Hopefully someone can tell him to stop. Yeah, he's got to stop doing that, because all that can be used against him. All that stuff can be used against him. That's a quick thing to Twitter. Yeah, he needs to stop talking immediately. Yeah, and just shut up. Yeah, he should be talking about it. Covering up for child abuse neglect is not based. Well, does Nick say you should put them on a wall? He has his wall thing that he was doing. So, all right. So your affiant believes that reports of neglect, controlled substance use are consistent with the previous mention. Your affiant requesting a search warrant for the blah blah blah. I've requested a search of Nick's house. So he requested a search warrant authorized between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. to the above described premises. So they asked for the search warrant. Now, here is the actual warrant. So this judge, and then here's the judge's signature on the warrant. The judge signed off on the warrant. So the warrant is good. So now, based off all of that information, the issue that we have to figure out in this case, is there probable cause for a search warrant? And we have a lot. The person who was in the house says, yeah, there's drugs in the house. He's on stream. Matter of fact, screaming at the YouTube. Yeah, the guy's all messed up. He got kids in the house. He's just coked out of his mind and he needs help. I wish someone would go and save the children. They got that. The kids go to school. We're not being fed. We're hungry. We wear the same clothes for a week. And on top of that, we're starting to smell. Number 2. Number 3, watching Nick's videos. My camera is on. Oh, white powder on my nose. Watching her videos. She looks strung out. And on top of that, you got somebody who is doing drugs with him saying, hey, we were doing all this together in his house. Okay. I don't know. Is it enough? Now, remember, the cops didn't have to know that there were drugs in the house. They just had to argue. That's what probable cause is. Whether it's more likely or not that when they go into that house, they're going to find contraband. And based on everything you saw here, I think that's a smart assumption. Matter of fact, I would suggest if we remove this search warrant and everybody who's Knicks fans would go and watch Knicks videos for the past 6 months. And then before this came out, I said, hey, if I bet you $1,000, are there drugs in Knicks' house? What do you think people would have said? Do you think they would have said, no, there's no drugs in this house. It's ridiculous. It's all an act. Or would you think, all right, yeah, I think there may be drugs in there. Right? I think there may be drugs. It's more likely than not there are drugs in there. And the cop said, based on my my experience, he probably was drugs in there. So I think it's clear. I think it's clear. Nick started plumbing about 2 years ago. Yeah. Nate, the prosecutor prefers to send the SWAT team with guns and handcuffs to jail. I think he needs help. I felt likened Nick looked like he was cursed by the medallion, not strung out. I'm not letting this go, Dave. It was the medallion. He wasn't strung out. I could see the behavior streams not being enough alone, but from having had to do the mandatory school reporting system enough, plus eyewitness accounts, streams seem to be for cooperation. Yeah. See, what happens is the apologists are going to say, well, the stream isn't enough alone. Okay, the stream is enough. Oh, well, the people with their observations at church aren't enough alone. Okay, well, this is enough alone. Well, the kids saying they're hungry, not fed, and all this other stuff is enough alone. Yeah, each one of those things enough alone aren't enough for probable cause, but put them all together and you got probable cause. That's how it works. You put them all together and say, well, now this whole bag isn't enough. This is Rekieta derangement syndrome. Why would Viva and Barnes use a Second Amendment boogie as a boogeyman? Because, they want to help their friend's public perception. I don't think they're being disingenuous. I think they're arguing for a conclusion. I think their conclusion is no matter what this search warrant said, no matter what it said, they were going to say it was no good. We could have had video of Nick using drugs in the house, and they would have said that was no good. They would have found an issue with it, right? That's what arguing from a conclusion is. They're not looking at it and saying, well, what does it say? And altogether, is it fair to say that, would they have come to the conclusion that there may have been drugs in this house? They're not going to say that. They're going to take each and individual piece of evidence and try to make it seem like that one piece of evidence alone isn't enough, and then refuse to put it all together. That's what I know that's what lawyers do. That's what lawyers do. You say this one piece alone isn't, but they're making look at this tree, and I'm saying look at the forest. Oh yeah, there's a forest back there. Yeah. There's one tree, but we're talking about the forest. Every time you say imhotep, what is it? Imhotep? It sounds like you're saying imhotep. Yeah, it's true. I think the idea of the mummy. Let's see what kids is down for. I am saying imhotep. But imholate, right? Imholate. Barnes is angry when he do this stream. I don't know. I'm just saying what happened. So now I want to be very clear too with my thoughts on this, because I want you guys to really understand my thoughts on this. Hold on, let me get this in super chat. This is what lawyers are supposed to do, though. That's why judges exist, to sort out the bullshit arguments. Yeah, exactly. So my thoughts on this, of course, Nick's lawyer should attack this and say there was not enough probable cause. He should say, yeah, me looking disheveled isn't enough. Yeah, my kids say they were hungry, but that's not like that's Nick's. Those are good arguments that Nick would make. I would be making that arguments if I was Nick's lawyer, right? Any defense attorney whose defendant has been subject to a search warrant should automatically if they don't, they are committing malpractice. You got to challenge the search warrant. I would challenge the search warrant, and I would use all those arguments that Barnes and them are using. But the first response by the DA is going to be like, we got to look at the whole thing together. And is it more likely than not that you would find drugs in that particular property. And you're like, yeah, well, yeah. It is more likely than not. Does Barnes have any possible vested interest in supporting Nick? I don't know. I don't want to start theorizing on what his motivations are, but it just is what it is. Barnes is off base with emotional, near-defamatory statements about Sean and blocking you. This is one thing to oppose your legal argument, but he is making wild lists and accusations now. Yeah, this guy's crazy. You're next on the list too. You're next on the list. I saw you. You're like the next person on the list. This is legal mindset. Yeah, he's next. You're next on the list, brother. They're coming after you. They said Sunday they're gonna call us all out because we don't. This is legal mindset for everybody though. Sunday they're gonna call us all out if we don't say what we're supposed to say. That's what they said. Barnes said Sunday I'll call them all out if they don't say what I want them to say. And that Nick. Matter of fact, you know what? I think it's so funny. I'm going to go and see if I can find it. Because I just heard it. He just said it. So before you leave, legal mindset, listen to it. They're gonna say it. Oh, hold on. Let me change my. Well, I'm trying to just find it.
Rules of warrants.
Here it
First,
is.
you need to have probable cause of a crime.
So here's
second,
Viva and Barnes.
You need to disclose information that would be material to the judge's Constitution of the United States.
That's what I think. And I was like, to the affidavit because I haven't redacted it.
Well, I can do the summation. The
Hold on.
is going in front of. Oh yes, it's the same 8th Circuit Court, which are happening.
I'm trying to see if I can find it. Come on, I want to.
Bag of 1775 copies.
Where was
And
that?
sleep well at night.
Retards of themselves.
I hear
and
this.
making responding law on the property or educating other people about their health conditions and confusing the criminal law in the process. A lot of people in LawTube have been responding to the Sunday show and making complete retards of themselves, revealing the degree to which how many of them are just completely illiterate about the Constitution. And I think your point is right. People in LawTube, especially, or those concerned about the Constitution, just remove the name of the person here. Forget who the person is here.
Well,
it's
I think
George Jones. It's Jack. The emotion.
Barnes is unleashing now.
His name is probably the criminal. You know, like potentially criminal Sean. The only thing accurate about his name is probably the criminal part.
Nothing that Barnes is going after him.
This is a guy that only the world only knows about because of Nick Rekieta statements during the Trump closing arguments, which are happening as we, and they're infusing things that
they gift myself required.
I'm trying to see if
in the complaints that actually aren't in there. In the affidavit and support, not speculation anymore.
I'm
trying to see where it says
Freed's rights were being violated, and I'm not.
You know what? I'm not going to, because I have to find it now. But in that stream, he says he's going to call us all out on Sunday. I just can't find it because you know I'm live now. I'm just trying to scrub it. But so that's Barnes. So Barnes is Sean potentially criminal because we all disagree with them, and you disagree with them too. He actually mentioned you too. You disagree with them too. So you're going to be on the list. You're on the list, brother. You're on the list. Legal mindset. Judges, we watch LawTube for impartial judgment. Well, I don't think that's true anymore because now I don't think it's. I have no clue who Nick is, but I'm glad his kids are safe now, and he is getting help. If this wasn't enough evidence to get a warrant, then what is? Yeah, I just don't know what would be. He will be a better man, and his kids will be safe. Yes. Even if this is just the way it goes, Nate, you may be the last honest. Nah, I'm not the last honest man. I'm just honest doing this. I have my flaws. But thank you so much. Look, at least no drugs in his house. That's true. As a defense attorney, I don't understand the simping. You can read the application and try to find holes, and at the same time realize Nick is in trouble. Yes. It's that simple. At least the way Walter White feed both of his kids. Damn, you guys are cold. And this one, Barnes, go chill up. This is a criminal, Amish milk. See you later today, buddy. Yeah, I'm going over Sean potentially criminal at 6:00. I wasn't even going to do this stream, but after getting called out and blocked, I was like, yeah, I got to make sure people know what's going on. Thank you. I'll be on with Sean tonight at 6:00 my time, 7:00 Eastern. So we're going to go through this warrant again. But yeah, this is insane. This is insane. I'm gonna see if I can catch some of the regular chats that are not super chats. Super chats, obviously, I'm gonna look at. But this one says, at Nate the lawyer, why the hell is the body count 33K? Because they want somebody to pay for it, and that's how they make their little bit of money. So if you want it, you pay 3K for it. And usually the news media are happy to pay the 3K for it because they'll scoop it. So we'll see. But that's the reason why. That's the reason why. And potentially criminal. You're a criminal. Barnes just straight up said the only thing that's true about your name is you're a criminal. Wow. Nate, you are very much. Thank you, Susie. Thank you so much. And Nate, the lawyer, the adult witness, Imholate, right, is willing to testify what he saw firsthand, and that is more than enough to have probable cause. Yeah, soon as he testifies, it's over. That's good enough in all 50 states, of course. And he's saying he was in there using drugs with them. So it's I'm just I'm just jealous of his cap. I appreciate they keep doing good work. You're on the list, buddy. You potentially criminal, myself. We're all on the list. He's gonna make us pay. Even Stevie Wonder will tell you Nick was on drugs. Yes, you remember. He even sent me that. You sent me that video. Sakeem, you sent me that video. That was funny. But you did. I remember you sent me that video. It's I don't know. Thanks, Rick. Thanks for becoming a member. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to leave it to you guys before I get out of here. This Nikki No situation. Let me see. I'm sorry. Reminds me of the yes. Particular Barnes never struck me as someone who gets into his feelings. I guess everyone has a breaking point. Yeah. I don't know. Like I do want to. I want to say this. I want to separate the man that I respect in Barnes from this emotional, you must simp for Nick Barnes, because there are two sides to Barnes, and I'm just going to be honest with you. Barnes was one of my first members of my channel. Barnes was one of my first supporters. Barnes was one of the people that helped me get to kind of to help me grow on my channel. So losing Barnes as a friend, as someone who I can pick his brain, and it's difficult because I just don't believe everything he says. I push back, and I think that's the tension. It's always the tension. Barnes has been in the game so much longer than I have, but that's the tension, right? I challenge what he says. I don't believe everything he says. I want him to prove it to me. And I think when you have that relationship with someone, sometimes things break. And I think this may have been the breaking point. But I respect the hell out of the man. I think a lot of his legal arguments are crap. I think all his legal arguments for this are crap. But that doesn't mean I don't respect it. And Viva, my God, Viva, I respect as a brother. These guys would have called me up today and said they needed something. They got it automatically. Just because I have this disagreement with them, that means nothing. And for me personally, about their relationship, I think Viva's a brilliant attorney, and I think Barnes is a brilliant attorney. I just disagree with them on this thing, and I think they're emotionally compromised in this situation. And I feel like I can say that confidently because I don't think anybody reading this document can honestly say there's no probable cause here, unless you're trying to push an agenda. I'm on the list, I guess. Well, yeah, you're on the list now too. You're Sean and myself. Seems like we have probable cause to believe Barnes is on something. You guys are gonna get me in trouble. Legal Bites got the last laugh. Yeah, and this was it. And for those of you who don't know what happened with Legal Bites, Nick got suspended from YouTube. We all were. Well, I said personally before I jumped on, I was like, well, hold on, let me see what it's for, because Nick does say some crazy stuff on YouTube. Matter of fact, like as you can see, he does crazy stuff on YouTube. So before we all jumped and said Nick should free Nick, I think I said myself, I was like, I want to see what first is going on before I jump in. I don't know what the hell he did, right? Because it could be something crazy. Matter of fact, we see the search warrant. They saw crazy shit too. So Legal Bites said the same thing. And they came to, oh, you're ungrateful, you're this, you should bow to Nick. We should always just support him blindly. And I thought that, and I went on, and that was like an issue. I was like, yo, that's ridiculous. Of course I'm not going to support this man blindly. That doesn't make any sense. Now, after this, it seems like that thing has changed. But now there are some people who are supporting them blindly, and some of us who are not. And now I feel like I'm in the legal bias position. Since I'm not supporting him blindly, you get blocked, you get gone, and Nate's the enemy. If that's the case, that's fine. But, I'm just not going to support anyone blindly when I got these facts that don't look good. I'm sorry. This is the Civil War arc of LawTube now. Yes. Lawyers arguing, I don't think it's a big civil war because that's kind of what we do. I work on a case with Barnes in Arkansas. He's brilliant, but cannot agree on the issue. Oh, interesting. At first, he gaslit us about Jack Murphy. Oh yeah, the Jack Murphy stuff was crazy. It was crazy. Ooh, so what I will say at the end of this is this too shall pass, right? This too shall pass. Nate the lawyer, legal mindset. I think we can still agree that everyone is still better than Legal Eagle when it comes to law takes. It's funny. I had more. Last month I had double the views of Legal Eagle, which is insane. I never thought that would actually happen. Barnes is jaded by the legal system. It seems the system clouds it. This one says April is FED hired by legal fights. She was right there. Congratulations, Nate. Both these lawyers have gone in so many ways. I can elaborate. This is crazy. Yes, sorry. Listen, but at the end of the day, I hope to recover. Barnes knows the Constitution, but this is ridiculous. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying he knows what he's doing. You are spot on. Hang in there. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm going to continue to do my videos. I got another one coming out later today. We have my law practice that we're blowing up. So we have a lot of great things going on. Nate, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's a movie quote. I forgot what movie quote that is. Great movie quote. I wish Nick a million visits to rehab. Yeah, he should be going to rehab right now and trying to get his life together. But it is what it is. So, with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My friend Uncivil Law is still live doing this thing, but I do want to say, I feel like this block is a badge of honor. Like, it's a badge of honor. Like, I think his arguments were so weak, and this is just my own personal opinion. I don't know this for a fact, but I think his arguments were so weak that when he saw that, he must have watched my videos today. He saw those arguments were so freaking weak that he couldn't defend it. And then when that thing came out this morning showing that everything I was saying was true, that was it. Either I was given that ultimatum. Either you get on board or you get jettisoned. And I was jettisoned. But I'm proud of it. Nate, longtime listener, first super. I love Beaver and Buns, but Barnes' assessment here is flawed. I also want to go further by stating Barnes is compromised in the next situation, given the Rumble channel and entanglement. Oh, well. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I thank you for the generous super chat. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope that's not true. I hope he's not thinking, because all we got is this, right? All we have is this. And if I can't be truthful with you guys in reading a legal case, then what am I doing here? So just to recap, I think Barnes' assessment of all this stuff is just trash. I think he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I think he's trying to, most people are saying, he may be compromised because of the Rumble deal. But I don't know that for a fact. I still think I still like the guy. I still like Viva. I still love Viva. I still love Barnes. I think they're great people. And if they want to say bad things about me, that's fine. They've always been in my corner, and I will not turn my back on them because he blocked me on Twitter. That's not, that's not enough. But I think he's wrong, and I want to publicly say I think he's wrong, and respectfully, I hope he is. I hope he reassesses what's been going on. I'm not willing to say Sonchi Amult curse Nick unless he and his mom. I do not know. What's it? Sonchi Amulet. Yeah, I know I can say that. I'm not willing to say that the Son Ichi Amulet curse Nick unless he and his mom, I don't know. I can't get the reference. Now I'm going to maybe look this up. You think they're great, but they don't like you. Get real. No, I do think they're great. Viva is my friend. Barnes is a colleague. Yes. They don't like what I'm saying, but I still think they're great people. Yes. Yes. I can separate the fact that we have this disagreement from, from the people who they are. No one can tell me that Viva's not a great person. No one can tell me that Barnes is not a great person. If I was in need, Barnes would be here helping me out, even with this. So, you got to be able to separate those two. These are still good men. We just disagree about this point. So with that being said, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.